Good morning, eighth graders. Woo. Yes, I did shave. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I did. Okay, and yeah, this double chin's why I grew a beard and why I'm shaggy. Woo. Okay. Did you enjoy the earthquake? Now you know why last year in Utah history I told you about the Wasatch Fault. It is no joking matter. It is a real earthquake fault, and now you have lived through the fifth largest earthquake in Utah history since 1847 when the Mormon pioneers arrived. That's exciting. Okay, I feel like I got a webcast going here. Okay, listen. This is your test review. Your test review for Chapter 26 will be the 25 questions that are actually on the test. It will be multiple choice. I have no way of monitoring what you're doing at home. So just do the best you can, and I'll record the grades, okay? So I'll post that here, not today probably, but pretty soon. So let me do a review with you. Okay, remember, during the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union had different ideas about organizing governments and the economy, right? And the Soviet Union and the United States participated in the Cold War by helping governments of friendly countries and opposing unfriendly governments. Okay, so that's pretty important to know. From 1945 to 1960, the Soviet Union and the United States also participated in the Cold War by preparing for war with each other without actually going to war. Okay, the overall effect of the Cold War was both countries spent huge amounts of money on war supplies, but never went to war. Okay. The Truman Doctrine, of course, was to contain communism. The Marshall Plan was to rebuild countries, but also to contain communism. So they were policies that aided governments friendly to the United States in Western Europe. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, was an alliance that opposed Soviet expansion in Europe. Okay, in Europe, the United States directly confronted the Soviet Union by sending supplies to Berlin during the Berlin airlift. Remember that? Talked about that. Let's see. In 1956, even though we wanted to, we did not help Hungary during the revolution against the Russians. So we did not help the Hungarian rebels. To help communism spread to Japan, so to prevent communism from spreading to Japan, we rebuilt their economy and set up a democratic government. Remember, under Douglas MacArthur. The government of Chiang Kai-shek was the one that was accepted into the United Nations, and not the government of Mao. Okay, so Chiang Kai-shek's government's the one that got in. The Southeast Asia Treaty Organization, CETO, was an alliance that opposed Soviet and Communist Chinese expansion and aggression. Okay, we directly opposed communism in Asia by fighting the Korean War and the Vietnam War. Okay, the Eisenhower Doctrine was specifically to help the Middle East to oppose communism. In Guatemala, we overthrew Jacobo Guzman's government, right? Okay, and let's see what else. What Guzman had done was he wanted to force the United Fruit Company to sell its land. Okay, that was the main reason why. So he's taking over businesses. The dictator of Cuba that we tried to take out in the Bay of Pigs was none other than Fidel Castro. The Warsaw Pact was an alliance of Eastern European communist countries and the Soviet Union. The reason the United Nations were set up was to promote peace, improve living standards, and increase freedoms for the world's people. Okay. During Eisenhower's presidency, we used nuclear force as a deterrent. against Soviet expansion. Non-industrial agricultural nations were known as the Third World. Already talked about that a little bit. Third World. And the idea that if one country fell, the other countries would fall was known as the domino theory, that if one country fell, then the countries next to it would fall to communism as well. The agency that was the spy network that collected information was the CIA. The CIA. They still exist today. Okay, after Stalin died, the Russian who took over was none other than our old buddy Nikita Khrushchev, one of the ugliest leaders in world history. Bald guy with a shoe that he banged the podium at the United Nations with. So Nikita Khrushchev was the guy who followed Stalin. Okay, and Douglas MacArthur commanded UN forces in the Korean War. And the first man-made satellite was Sputnik, or Sputnik. Okay, Sputnik. And it was scary because if they could put Sputnik up, they could, launch nuclear missiles and all that kind of stuff, okay? And number 25, it's just a quote. And let's see. Okay. Basically, it's a quote from Che Guevara. And he said, "I am one of those people who believes that the solution to the world's problems is to be found behind the Iron Curtain." And Dwight Eisenhower said, "From behind the Iron Curtain, there are signs that tyranny is in trouble and reminders that its structure is as brittle as its surface is hard." And the correct answer would be both Eisenhower and Guevara agreed that the Iron Curtain separated two opposing economic and political systems. I don't know, guys, how else to do a review. Try to do the test on your own if you can. I apologize for the screw up. But at any rate, I'll try to get that posted within the next couple days, and you can take that because we're basically done with chapter 26. All right. Well, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your life or day or whatever's going on out there. All right, cool. And my house is okay from the earthquake. I'm okay. I swayed back and forth. It was nuts for like 10 seconds. Magna's only 7 miles from my house, and so I was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and no major damage, fortunately. So, okie doke. See ya. Bye.